and share. Okay, you're live.
You want to.
Yeah, once it comes on the page, you can send me the link, I can share it.
Okay, and we are live on YouTube. Not sure why it's showing 11:54. Okay.
Actually,
Is it live now? I can share this link.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can share it now.
Mm-hmm.
Where do I get the link now? I don't have it.
Just mute yourself, Chairman. I'll share the link in the groups or WhatsApp groups, and then you can pick it from there and share as well.
Okay.
Gonna play little music while we wait and build the audience for the next 2 minutes, and we'll start.
I came into Canada in 2020 and I felt
Okay, Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me on this very important topic. And today we are going to discuss a very heartwarming topic and a very important topic in the history of Ambazonia, present Ambazonia, post-Ambazonia, and I welcome you all in the studio. So if you're joining us, this is a very important topic. Kindly share and invite your friends to join us on this topic. So kindly share in your groups, WhatsApp groups, Facebook pages, and invite friends to join us as we will be starting momentarily. So in the next 1 minute, I'm just going to kick off this conversation. And if you're watching us, if you can tell us if the volume is okay on the comment section, that will be appreciated. So if you can at least comment in the comment section, let us know if the volume is okay from my end, that will be appreciated. Please, if you're watching, let me know if my volume is okay. I see 7 people watching. Okay, volume is good. Perfect. Thank you very much for confirming that. And ladies and gentlemen, before I start, like I said, today is a very important topic. We are going to be discussing 63 years of Cameroon educational system in Ambazonia, 63 years of Cameroon intoxication system, and the alternative that Ambazonia has provided. And I'm glad to be here in the studio with the Ambazonia Education Board, the educational department, and all of them will be introducing themselves to you in a while. But before we start, why are we here today? And I will just give you a brief of why we are here again in a nutshell. So today we are talking most importantly on the importance of education versus schooling. We've been with the Cameroon educational system for 63 years. What has it done to us? How important is this educational system that they've given us? How important is knowledge to education, to schooling? So we are going to be having a very detailed conversation on this, and the board will be telling us why they think that the system that has been on for 63 years is no longer working, and why they think there is need for an alternative. But most importantly, why is this one going to work? So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. Like I said, and welcome to my esteemed panelists and guests. Today, we'll dive into a topic that strikes in the very heart of freedom and justice. The role of knowledge as a tool of liberation, and the urgent need to dismantle educational systems that enslave rather than empower. Throughout history, knowledge has been the cornerstone of liberation. It is through knowledge that societies have broken the chains of oppression. And it is through knowledge that individuals have found the strength to resist tyranny. However, not all education is equal, and not all knowledge is liberating. In fact, some systems of education are designed not to enlighten, but to obscure, and to empower, but to enslave us. This is where the danger of forced education comes in, an education that teaches dependence rather than self-reliance, that promotes rote learning rather than critical thinking, and that perpetuates the very system of oppression it claims to challenge. Such education is a tool of extortion, used by those in power to maintain control over the minds and lives of the people. So, by feeding us with steady diet of half-truth and outright lies, this system keeps us dependent on critical, and we complain. So consider the situation in many post-colonial states where the educational system was inherited from colonizers. These systems were not designed to produce independent thinkers or innovators. They were designed or designated to produce workers, out in the machinery of the state. In such systems, students are taught to memorize and recite rather than to question and create. They are taught to seek validation from external authorities rather than trust in their own knowledge and abilities. This is not education, it is indiscrimination. In the context of the Ambazonian struggle, this issue is particularly acute. For many decades, the people of Ambazonia have been subjugated to an educational system that does not serve their needs, that does not reflect their value, and that does not prepare them for the challenges of the modern world. This system has been used as a tool to control, a means of keeping the people dependent on the state, and a way to perpetuating the status quo. But knowledge is also an antidote to oppression and injustice. When people are informed, we all know that they are less likely to be manipulated by propaganda or controlled by fear. Knowledge fosters critical thinking, enabling individuals to see through the lies and distortion that are often accompanied by oppressive regime. It is the shield that protects the mind from being enslaved, allowing individuals to see the world for what it is, rather than the way it is presented to them by those in power. In the words of, I'm quoting this from the Bible. In the Bible, we ought, for those of us who understand the Bible and who read the Bible, who believe in the word of God, in the word of Hosea, in Hosea 4 verse 6, it says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. This is God saying to his people, that my people perish for lack of knowledge. That is telling us the importance of knowledge. So if the Bible says my people perish for lack of knowledge, what does this mean? This biblical verse resonates deeply in the context of our discussion today. It is not the physical chain that binds us, but the chains of ignorance. When people are deprived of knowledge, they are left vulnerable to exploitation and abuses. They are unable to defend their rights, to advocate for themselves, or to rise above their circumstances. Knowledge, therefore, is not just power, it is survival. It is a lifeline that keeps the spirit of resistance alive, even in the darkest times. The need to break free from the circle of forced education and dependency is more urgent now than ever. We must strive to be an educational system that fosters our true knowledge, knowledge that empowers, knowledge that liberates, knowledge that leads to self-reliance and innovation. This is the vision behind the Ambazonian educational system, a system designed not to produce obedient subjects, but to nurture independent thinkers, creators, and leaders. As we reflect on the importance of knowledge in the Ambazonian struggle, it becomes clear that education must be more than just a system of schooling. It must be a tool of empowering or of empowerment, a means to equip individuals with the skills and understanding necessary to challenge injustice, to build self-reliance, and to create a future where freedom and equality are not just ideals, but realities. In nations like Finland, Singapore, Canada, education is tailored to foster creativity, problem-solving, adaptivity, and entrepreneurship. These are the systems that recognize the importance of preparing students not just to pass exams, but to navigate the complexity of the modern world, to build their own future, and to contribute meaningfully to the communities. The Ambazonian education system seeks to do the same, integrating these elements to prepare students to self-sufficiency and economic independence in the globalized economy. So, as we are going to be discussing detailedly about the Ambazonian education system, I want us to remember that knowledge is a foundation upon which all movements for justice are built. It is the light that guides us through the darkness of oppression and the weapon that defends us against the forces of injustice. As we continue to our discussion for today, I really want us to commit ourselves to the pursuit of true knowledge, the kind of knowledge that liberates, empowers, transforms. Let us keep in mind the words of Nelson Mandela. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And indeed, it is through the dissemination of knowledge that we will liberate our minds, our people, our future, and will break the chains of false education, lift our people out of dependency, and build a future where freedom and equality are not just ideas, but realities. So, ladies and gentlemen of the panelists, welcome to the panel discussion to discuss today's most important topic. Okay, I'm going to unmute Mabia. Thank you. You are already unmuted. Based on this analog that was given to us on knowledge and education, first of all, introduce yourself to us. Who are you, Mabia?
Okay. So I am part of the Amazonia Education Board. I'm passionate about education. It's something, when you start talking about education, I can keep talking about it for a while. Passionate again about education because I feel like everything about change, learning, anything, it's all about education. Even in your job that you do day to day, education, education, education. We migrated from Cameroon, Amazonia, and came to the foreign country, USA, Europe. And sometimes we get this situation where they say, oh, you speak with an accent or something like that. When you speak with knowledge, well educated in your topic, that accent doesn't come out. People don't say you speak with an accent. People listen. So education to me is a passionate topic because, like you said, it's something that I have experienced, that you need to be educated in anything that you're doing, in your job, in your career, in your skill, and nobody will be questioning what you're doing.
Thank you very
So
much.
that's my opening topic about that. And that's why I'm
Thank you
passionate
so
about
much.
education. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Reverend Chairman of the Amazonia Education Board. That is already an introduction in itself. Just introducing you as a chairperson of the Amazonia Education Board already tells the people who they'll be expecting to hear from. But aside that, what do you want to tell us about yourself before we dive into this very important conversation, Mr. Chairman?
I greet you all, revolutionary greetings from me. I greet you in the wonderful name of our Lord Jesus Christ. The Bible says in Proverbs 4:7, because you talked of Hosea 4:6. The Bible harmonizes us to get wisdom. And wisdom can only be gotten when in your practicality, in doing something. And so I want to thank you, PS, for this wonderful opportunity that you've given the board, the Amazonian Education Board, to talk to the people, to express to the people, to let the people know what we are doing in the education arena. Like you said, I am the chairperson of the Education Board, and I want to make this before we continue, that the Amazonian Education Board is not the property of AGOVC. It's an Amazonian property. It's the property of the Amazonian people. And so
Perfect.
we are just managers. We are managers. And so every other institution that we are building during this time of our liberation is that these institutions are Amazonian institutions. And so we should stop making that mistake of thinking that, because AGOVC is championing the Amazonian Education Board, is the AGOVC owns the Amazonian Education Board. The education board is the board of the people. And so whatever we are dishing out, we have every Ambazonian, like the president of the EGOFC said, no Ambazonian will be left out. Everybody will go back to school. And so, like you rightly said in your introduction, the colonial education, which was based on indoctrination, for literature, for literacy, for numerical purposes, so that they can just use you and I, to fulfill and to fulfill their purpose for colonizing us. And so we will be unpacking tonight what we have to, what kind of education we are proposing to the Ambazonian people. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Reverend. You took that out of me because I wanted you to talk to Ambazonians and tell Ambazonians what exactly is the Ambazonian Education Board. What exactly is the Ambazonian Education Board and what exactly is the Ambazonian education system? I know you've started saying that this is an Ambazonian education, not an Ambazonian Governing Council Education Board, but an Ambazonian Education Board. So for those that are listening who might think that because you belong to the Ambazonian Governing Council, the aspect of the Ambazonian Education Board is off the Ambazonian Governing Council, I really wanted you to throw more light on that so that people will have understanding that we are talking about Ambazonia as a nation, not about the movement EGOFC. So let people have this very clear before we move forward. So in just one more minute, can you just further emphasize on this? You are the chairperson of the board of the Ambazonian Education Board, not the Ambazonian Governing Council Education Department Board. So I just want you to throw more light on that so that people will have the distinction.
Thank you, Madam PS, for that wonderful question. Like I rightly said, the Ambazonian Education Board, just as its name, it's not the EGOFC Education Board. It's the Ambazonian People's Education Board. And so the initiative came from EGOFC after the boycott of education, which was an expression of the people of Ambazonia to send a message to La République du Cameroun that we are not sad, we are not contented, we are not happy with the system of education that has been dished out to our people. That was called by the consortium, and to the best of my knowledge, that boycott, that school boycott, has not been called back. But the EGOFC, the Ambazonian Governing Council, said schools cannot be postponed. Schools must go now. And schools must go on our own terms. It must go on our own terms. And so we went to work as Ambazonians. The EGOFC identified some interest, people who have interest in education. Mabia is there, I'm there, the education secretary, and many others. They went to work to formulate our own system of education, taking into account other systems in the world. We did not we did not compare our educational system with Cameroon. We went and we started it from scratch. And so it's for the Ambazonian people. We are looking at the Ambazonian education. We're looking at building the blocks that will make Ambazonia great.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for that. And we'll get into details of all of what you've just mentioned. But before we move on, I will have this for you, Mabia. I know in your opening statement, you said you have passion for education. You love education. And may I ask, where were you educated? And before I'll come through to you.
Okay.
Your first educations, where did you get your primary education or secondary or maybe even university? Where did you get your initial education from?
Yeah, I got my primary education in Cameroon. My parents were in Southwest, Limbe, Bota. That's where I started my primary education. We lived in Moliwe. I got my secondary education, Baptist College in Kumba, went to Kas Kumba, and my nursing education in Bamenda, in the nursing school in Bamenda. So I'm going to mention that a little bit because I'm going to talk a lot about skills.
Definitely. Please go ahead.
So from getting a diploma, I then came to the US, where I got my bachelor's degree at Emory University, and I've got my master's as well. I am a nurse practitioner. I think I didn't introduce a whole lot of that. I do a lot of education with doctors. I train doctors, I train nurse practitioners. I do a program too, just like the program we're doing here, teaching the Amazonian people. There are a lot of YouTube programs that I've done, which is all tailored on trying to educate our people on why we need a change from what we have now. I've talked about marginalization. I've talked about us being trying to assimilate us. I've talked about conflict. I've talked about the qualities of a good nation, which I'm going to mention that as one of the opening things that I feel we're going to talk about. The qualities of a good nation, a nation that encourages education, a nation that encourages creativity, a nation that encourages excellence. And when we will be talking, we'll find out that our country has not actually, the current Cameroon has not actually encouraged education, where you have the freedom. It hasn't encouraged creativity, and it hasn't encouraged excellence because they don't have continuous continuous education for people to keep doing research and coming up with new ideas. So we will talk about all of that. Yes.
Perfect. As a member of the education board, you've mentioned a lot of things about creativity, continuous learning, lifelong learning, and all of these things put together. You started your education back in Cameroon, and today we are questioning 63 years of its educational system that has lasted that long. And today we are providing an alternative to Ambazonia, because why do you think that we need an alternative in Ambazonia, despite this one being there for 63 years? And you've passed through that same educational system. Why do you think we need an alternative?
Okay, I will start with the system of education in current Cameroon is memorization. You did talk a little bit about that fact. Memorization. When I did my nursing from Cameroon and I reached the US here, I had to retrain myself to take their board exam. It will not work by me just memorizing things that you just memorize and you go and you pass an exam. That is a system that I was training, and that really needs to change. We want to get a new system where students are encouraged to be creative, think outside the box, come up with ideas, not just memorize what somebody else told you, some colonial history, the history of the Queen, which has nothing very much to do with you, but something that has to do with you, with your own country, your own heroes, your own, how did your country come about? We're not going to just memorize all of the things. We want creativity. We're going to want to have an educational system where we are teaching these children to have skills. One of the things that has constantly been mistaken, even till today, even those back at home, those in the diaspora, is we keep thinking education is just about going to school and getting some degree and coming out with a degree. What do we see? All our brothers, our cousins, our nephews, here at home, they have degrees. They're still sitting at home in the current Cameroon. But these people, if they are taught to have some form of skills, can be able to build a system or an economy that can even encourage other people to create some jobs, I can create other jobs for other people. The current system of Cameroon doesn't encourage that. There's nothing like skill. Everybody's going to school, hoping to get a O level, hoping to get an A level, and hoping to come out and work in the government. If you interview any student back in Cameroon, they say, what is your plan? I'm hoping that when I finish school, I'll be hired by the government. Our current system that we want to encourage in the Amazonian education system will be the system where you are not looking at the government. You are looking at creating some skill that you will come out and you can, if the government doesn't get you, fine, you can create something. And from that creation, you can create something for other people. Okay. I will give this example again about, let's say you, me and some other person went to the embassy. I'm going back to when we went back to the embassy. The person went to University of Yaoundé or University of Boya, and they did whatever they did there. And I came just with high school education, and I did braiding while I was in Cameroon. That is what I learned. I did braiding, and I just finished high school. Two of us go to the embassy. They give us a visa, and we come to the US. Who do you think is going to survive the US system? The lady who did the braiding.
That's right.
She's just going to come in, start doing her braiding, making her money, and surviving and paying for further education. Unlike you who went to Guakele or whatever that school is called and come over here, you're starting from square one, no skill, nothing. Our system that we want to encourage in the Ambazonia education system would be creativity, skills. I'm still going to talk about more morality, values, culture. We'll talk all about those things. That is what education is about.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mabia. That was a very succinct response to that question. And I'm sure that those that are watching us have learned a lot from what you've said. And I will bring back that same question to you, Mr. Chairman of the Education Board. Mabia has mentioned a lot of criteria to which this was developed, the motivation behind this. But then, what the Ambazonia education curriculum, how was it developed? How did you come about this? If you said you didn't copy what La Republique has been giving us for the last 63 years, how did you guys come up with a new a completely different educational system, a new system? Give us please talk to Ambazonians how this came about.
Thank you, PS. Once again, dear Amazonian people, dear people of the world, good heart people. For 63 years, the educational system that was dished down to the construct called Cameroon, the then construct called Cameroon, was I call it a colonial education. It was colonial education that was meant for them to like Ansons just rightly said, it was geared towards employment. You get that education. You are looking at employment. You're looking for and the only employment as we know when we were growing up was the state and CDC, so to speak. All of them are government. One is parastesta and the government institution. And so a good number of people who came out of school, imagine how many people that the universities and high schools graduate every year. And so the government cannot employ all of those people. CDC cannot employ all of those people. And so the unemployment rate is getting higher and higher. And people go study. women sell their grass, sell their plums, sell stuff, send children to school with the hope that, you know, they will come back. But when they finish school, they come back and they're looking at their mothers. So we looked at all that. We have gone through all of that. And so when we started this struggle, we said, we don't want to continue in this La Republique educational system, which is a colonial educational system. We looked at different educational systems in the world. How the educational systems in the world are operated. We looked at Japan. We looked at Swedish. We looked at the American. We looked at the German system of education. We discovered, and we looked at South Africa and other nations. We looked at it and we saw that they are geared towards vocation and skill that helps in nation building. And so we pick from Sweden, we pick from Germany, we pick from different countries, and we sat down to build the curriculum that we have with in mind that we want to build skills and vocation. That while you from kindergartens, you start learning a skill. Be it catering, you start learning it from kindergartens. We see that in Chinese school. We see that in Japanese schools. Children from tender age, they start a vocation, they start a trade, they start a skill, and by the time they are graduating from university, you know, with some other knowledge, they have something in their hands. Like Mabdia said, somebody who went and did braiding, and somebody who came out from Guaycale, you know, when they come into another economic system, the one with the handwork, with something that they can do, it will be much more economically beneficial. It will be much more economically beneficial to him than the person who just did, just grammar education. Somebody studied English, somebody studied history. That cannot put food on your table if the government does not employ you. So when you get to studying history, geography, the only thing you can do is to reteach what you have studied. And the opportunities are not for everyone. Not everyone will get the opportunity. So those are the bases on which we use to build the curriculum that we have, and it's one of the best that Africa has.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. I love the way you ended that. It's one of the best which Africa has. And I love that because we are nothing but the best. Okay, Mabia, I know you have a very strong passion for education, and we will have a very lengthy conversation here today. You as a woman and you as a mother, we have women and mothers back home who have believed, their minds have all been nurtured into believing that my child has to go to school, write GCE, write advanced levels, go to ENAM, go to IREC, go to this and ENS and all of that stuff. But today you're coming to Ambazonians to tell them that no, the system that they've been following for the last 63 years is not workable, but that you are introducing for them a new system. What I want you to talk to the mothers, tell Ambazonians women why you think that this system is what they need for their children, and why they should stop their children from attending La Republique schools and focus on the Ambazonian education system that we are providing for them.
Okay, I will start by first directing the mothers into their houses, looking at their children who all came back and are still in the house. They all got that La Republique education, went to college, came out, went to Ngwakele, came out, they are in the house with them. So I want them to look at them. And then the second thing, I will direct them to all these numerous mushroom schools that are being opened in the country. You talk to people, they tell you about 8 schools in their neighborhood that is being opened. I want parents to ask themselves, are we putting these children in these schools because we want them to be in these schools, or are we hiding them there? Because sometimes I think it's like, if you don't see the trouble, then you don't know say the trouble they exist. I kind of believe our parents just put these children there so that if they are not at home with them, then they believe they are just somewhere. Because they actually know in their minds these children are going to be coming back to them and staying in that same house and doing nothing with them. Yet I should talk to them about why I think our system should change. I will bring them. We like to copy what the white man has done or what the white man is doing. So I'll bring them back to the US. In the US system, the US government is mandatory to go to kindergarten, elementary, middle school, high school. That's it. Mandatory. This one, the government makes it free for you to send your children to this thing. You actually can go to jail if your children don't acquire this education. And after high school, none of their business what you want to do. The reason they encourage this part is at least you should know how to sign your name. At least you should know how to read a legal document. At least you should know all of these things. And after that, when you open your business, you can know how to deal with the reading the documents and so on. So after that, they encourage the people to become skillful people, not necessarily going to be a doctor or anything. We're not saying those things are bad. No, we're not. We need doctors. We need lawyers. We need all of those people. What we are saying is, don't only stifle the children and hold them down to specific educational things that our parents taught us. You know, our parents would love to talk to each other. My pikin a lawyer. Oh, you know, say my pikin a engineer. Oh, my pikin a doctor. They have no idea. These things have not opened up jobs for us in the country. Because it's just one thing, the professional goes and does their job that they're doing and do not create a whole lot of other jobs for people. I will come back again to point. I always like to use example. Where I live in the US, around me, my husband and myself, we will say we're the most educated. But we are the poorest around where we live. My neighbors are all skilled workers. My neighbor above me is a skilled worker. He makes granite kitchen tables. And that's what his son does. The daughter does hair. They're richer than us. And the next neighbor opposite does landscaping. That's what he does. They're richer than us. Again, we are not saying degrees are not important. We're saying don't stifle your children to those things. I used to be like that too. I have 3 children. The oldest one I pushed, oh, medical school, medical school. The youngest one I pushed. The middle one says, I want to be independent. How long? It took us a little while. I had to open my mind to and educate myself to the idea that what he wants to do as a working, not a blue collar person is also a good thing. Believe it or not, he's doing better than his brothers in terms of money. But his brothers went and got all these degrees and so on. So, but I'm not saying they're not doing well too, but I'm saying we should start looking at skills. That is what builds a society. That is what builds this economy we've all run and come to. Skillful workers create jobs. Creativity creates jobs. Without those things, without a system of education like La République de Cameroon is teaching us, they actually are intentionally doing that though. Okay. Stifle us so we don't have the freedom to think. Exactly. We don't have the freedom to create, and we have to depend on the government. They do that intentionally. That's how a dictatorial government works.
Thank you very much. And we'll come back to this conversation again. But before we continue, there's been a lot of talk September is just around the corner, and there's been a lot of talk. Mr. Chairman, I'm directing this question to you, and Mabia, of course, you will come in after the chairman comes in. There's been a lot of talk about school resumption, and people are questioning why school should start not in September as they always known. And the Ambazonia Education Board is proposing that school should start in January. And there is a question of why are we changing the dates and all of the stuff. But most importantly, I will also want to know why the Ambazonia Education Board decided that they will move from the general norm of September to another month that they prefer that school system start in Ambazonia. And even the school systems that are starting in Ambazonia, where are they starting in Ambazonia? Because there is a war in Ambazonia. When we say the school year is starting, where are we sending our children to go to? I want you, Mr. Chairman, to talk to us about this in a very detail so that our parents should understand exactly what is happening.
Thank you once again. Block by block, method by method. That is a mantra that we have developed, that we will build the country, we will build the Ambazonia block by block, method by method. And so the question is great. Thank you so much for that question. You see, when our leader announced the reopening of schools on the 2nd of October, which is the date that we have been used to since we decided that schools should continue in 2018, 2019. Schools have been reopening in October after our Independence Day. And so when we were crafting the educational calendar for Ambazonia, we did not, after consultations with other stakeholders, we said we do not want to be anywhere closer to the colonial system. And so, like other countries that are starting in January, which you have South Africa, which starts in January. You have Brazil, which starts in February. You have Australia, which starts in January. You have New Zealand, which starts in January. So there are a host of countries that start school in January, and so the starting date is not really a problem. Why we shifted our date to January was just to match a calendar year, logically match a calendar year with a school year, and we divide the semesters as such. And so we wanted to move nothing close to La République du Cameroun. And so that's why we decided to say we start in January, like any other, other nations are starting in January. And so the date of starting schools is not really so much of a talk about, because our talk about as Ambazonians or as scholars or as educational stakeholders should be centered around what are we going to teach our students? What are we going to teach our students? What are we going to dish out to our students? How will the school look like? What kind of infrastructure are we talking about? The state of the arts infrastructure. That's what we are talking about. What kind of state of the art institution? And so we do not want to compare our system to the system of La République, because if you count from 1 to 100 or 1 to 50, the universities in Cameroon, they do not figure. I'm talking to you, Ambazonians. Go on your phone right now. Go and Google and see. none of the universities in Cameroon feature in the first 50. And so we cannot match our educational system to that of La République du Cameroon. And so the reopening date is not really too much a matter, but we have decided that the Amazonian education school year, Amazonian school calendar will be from January to December, with the semesters that we cannot go into it, which we will if the Amazonian people, we have divided the school year with activities that fall within that school calendar. And so other states, because we were running schools in Bui, that is in the Bui state. Our schools started, they adopted the calendar from January. And so the school started in January. But because we said we cannot make it so sudden for other people, because like change is difficult to come by. And so some people are still having that nostalgia of La République. And so they're still lingering around September, October. And so Momo is still starting schools in October. But we have had meetings with Momo. We've had meetings during our plenary, the Amazonian Education Board plenary. We have discussed that. We have agreed that they have a transition from October to December, where the students, the teachers, and the parents will get that awareness. And so come 2025, all our areas where we have control will start schools in January. We have Ngokutunja who is coming in. They were not there. They're coming in. We have a coordinator there. They'll be starting their schools. So they're following the transition. They will be in that transition, that period of transition from October to December. And so to get teachers and students used to the school year that starts in January. We have Donga, which is coming up. They are still in that transition. And so we have said in areas where we have control, we have control over, our schools are following the calendar of January. And so the rest of the country, where we do not have control yet, we advise that they start school in October, after our 1st of October celebration. Why? Because we will not be able to guarantee them security when they start school in other dates than the dates that we have given out as the start school date, so that the enemy will not profit and come and disturb, like what happened in Kumba, to kill students and blame it on our valiant patriotic volunteers. So the school year for Ambazonia, as decided by the Amazonian Education Board, starts in January with its activities to December. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And I see that the Education Secretary has finally joined us. And I will be bringing this question to him because I know he sent out a very compelling audio the other day about the reopening of schools in Ambazonia and also the areas that we have static control over. And I want you, Mr. Education Secretary, if you can hear me. Ambazonians are questioning that this education that the Ambazonia Education Board is providing for our children, how useful and visible is this? How would they? How can this be recognized at the level of the international community? And also, where exactly, like the chairman said, it's been since 2018. So where exactly have you been implementing the school curriculum that the Amazonian Education Board has developed over the past years? And how effective has this been? And also, what are you, parents are worried that their children's future is not secure in terms of we providing them this education without them having any certification, which is what has been put in our minds for the last 63 years, certification. But what is the Amazonian Education Board doing about this? And what message do you have for them if you heard everything I asked?
Okay. Yes. Thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to talk on this platform. I
Please
appreciate the
speak
work.
or be audible enough on your phone. If you're using your phone, please speak close to your speaker so that people can hear you well.
Yeah, we absolutely sorry. The lines are really bad, but I hope you can hear clearly. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir. Go ahead. Just be more audible. That's all.
Yes, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. So sorry for that hitch, and we appreciate a lot of gratitude. We are so appreciative. We thank you so much for taking up the opportunity to present on this very critical topic to our people. We appreciate the work the Education Board Chair has been able to do thus far. We appreciate the board member, honorary person here seated, Madia. She is indefatigable. They are passionate about the change we want. And let us be very sincere about some of these things that we are talking about. And let the population know that
Can you
goodness,
increase your volume, Mr. Secretary?
yes, let the population know that goodness is really, really difficult to come by in a very crooked environment. To come by good is not easy when you are dealing with people whose minds have been really, really destroyed. When the level of the pursuit of righteousness is below the mark, where they pass for your leaders, but they are actually misleading you. When people are pretending to be educating you while they are actually creating a problem that needs a really big solution. We have to be very categorical on these matters. Ambazonians, Cameroonians, I wish to use this platform to address you and appeal to you once more to stand up and do the right. Nobody will make your countries, Cameroon and Ambazonia, what it is supposed to be, except you do it yourself. If you think that the country is that which you can be proud of, then stop running away from it. If you think this educational system we are talking about is such a wonderful thing that you have at your hands, then do not complain. We have diagnosed a very chronic disease that is affecting all of us, and we have provided a solution that is helpful not only to us in Ambazonia, but to Cameroonians who are suffering and dying in silence. And then you stand to question the system. You stand to question a medical doctor who has prescribed a solution, a medication that will cure you of a gangrene, a cancer, a terminal disease that is ruining you, ruining your families, and ruining your societies. Let us be serious for once. Now we come to the question. Why are we here? We are talking about a school year, simply on the basis of the fact that education cannot wait. If it were not because of that singular reason, we will not be talking about education at all in this context until Cameroon gets out of our land and we build it anew. We scattered it and start afresh because the problem we are addressing is so serious that we cannot address it in patches. We are trying to kind of patch a ship that is draining, or I mean, we are sailing on turbulent seas and we are drowning, and we are trying to sing praises to the pilot who has lost control and is sleeping, is dying. That is what we're doing. I mean that the level of madness is so exaggerated that we need to address that first before we get into educational issues and talk about what we really want to see done and how we want it done and by who, at what time, and how. All these things have to be put into perspective. And so until we address the root cause of this problem, we'll be building the house on sand and it will never last. So I addressed the people, PS. I was telling them all this talk about reopening dates for either Cameroon schools or Ambazonian schools is much ado about nothing. And it has been scientifically proven that it is much ado about nothing. Because the whole system is built on a lie. And we must unmask this lie and the deception in order to lay a solid foundation for an educational system that is based on values and principles, morally upright. You can't teach your children how to tell lies by lying to yourself and lying to everybody and saying that because you have lied enough, that is good enough. And that has become very normal. We said that an educational system is so important for a people that people who hate you can decide to use it to destroy you. And it is your duty as a knowledgeable person to accept the plans of your enemies. If you go by their cries and what they think and say, you will be misled. And so we said a reopening date, announcing a reopening date is a very dangerous thing for a people that have gone to school and they know what education and an educational system is all about. So number one, an educational system takes care of a comprehensive package of issues that we may not be able to handle all of them now. But in simplistic terms, when you announce a school date, it means that you have prepared the schools and that there is peace and tranquility where you are asking children to go study, and that you have prepared their pedagogic tools. You have set their classrooms fully equipped, and you have put aside teachers who are well paid, who are well equipped to do their job. You have put into place medical facilities to take care of children who fall sick. You have put aside food for children who may not have a means of livelihood back in their IDP camps, refugee camps, or shattered or burnt villages, or wherever they are. You are saying that the war that was waged on you because you asked for an educational reforms has ended. You are saying that the people who asked for these educational reforms, and just by virtue of asking for educational reforms, are now in prison have been released, and that they have respected the international court or the commission, the Geneva Human Rights Commission. The UN Human Rights Commission has ruled in a full bench that these people who simply ask for an educational system, and when you refuse to do so, they said, okay, if you want to do so, we had our own educational system in the state of Southern Cameroon. And so we are going back to our country and we do our things the way we want to do it. Then you take them and put them in jail for life. After putting them for 1 year incommunicado, and then now you have not solved any of those problems. You come, school reopening date, school reopening date. Are you coming out of a house? Are you drunk? Is there something wrong with you? We must ask these questions. If we don't ask these questions, we will be building on sand. And I don't want to participate in any scam. I don't want to scam my people. When my father was sending me to go and learn ABC in my school, in the village, he told me that those who have been serving in their cooperative were thieves. They were embezzling their money in the cooperative since they didn't know how to record measurements. Their kilograms of coffee. They did not know how they were just taking advantage of their illiteracy. So he wanted me to go to school and study and come back and help the people so that those cheats, those fraudsters, those corrupt cooperative leaders will be unmasked. I have gone to school and come back and discovered that it was not only the cooperative society that was involved in a scheme to deprive the population of their resources and their wealth. The whole country is made up of thieves, very corrupt people. Leaders who talk one thing in the morning and do a different thing in the afternoon. There are scandals everywhere about thievery, not by banana thieves in the village, but by state officials scarting away money that should be put aside for the educational system, to get educational equipment, to get teachers well paid, to get sophisticated educational gadgets to put in the classrooms, to have the internet functioning well. They don't want to do this. You got the person in the auction an oil well to Equatorial Guinea to take the money and go for safari trip in Europe, in his continental hotel.
Okay,
So
Mr. Education Secretary, I will have to come in there for a while. And please, we will get back to that conversation, that this particular area that you're trying to bring up now, which is a very crucial area in terms of this educational curriculum that we've developed. But I would like you to bring, could
can
you...
I interject on something, Cecilia?
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry for interrupting.
No, you go ahead.
I feel like there's something we really haven't talked about. I want to address the issue of the different groups and the leader of Egg of Sea trying to come to a date and the argument that went into that.
That is, just hold on.
I thought they were mentioning that.
Yeah, hold on tight to that, because I would like us to bring that as well. But before we go into that, because that is where I was asking that question to the Education Secretary to then come to. People have been asking on the issue of schooling in Ambazonia, that we were providing an alternative. Where are these children going to school? I know the chairman touched a little on that, but they are even arguing that there are no schools ongoing in Ambazonia. There are no schools ongoing in Ambazonia. And again, how are the certificates recognized, considering that Ambazonia, they say, is not yet a recognized state amongst the states of nations across the world? How is it? Do we have education ongoing in Ambazonia? Do we have schools ongoing in Ambazonia? And how long have we had these schools? And in what areas, in what spheres of influence do we have these schools ongoing? And after that, then I will come on that issue of school reopening date, that debate that you had with the other members of movements of the Ambazonia movement. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Education Secretary.
Thank you, PS. Thank you, PS, for bringing us back. I was really, really mad about
I know.
this.
I know if I don't pull you back, you will not stop.
You're putting the cart before the horse. That is my problem. The house is on fire. Instead of Ambazonians and Cameroonians to sit down and fix it, they are dancing around, blah, 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 and making crazy noises. Now, there is a very big divide between the old colonial education system and what we are building for Ambazonia. The divide is based on the delineation that the chairman had put out there. Our emphasis is on a skill-based educational system. Their own system is on a certificate-based educational system. We have to make this distinction very clear. We have said and we maintain that it will be better for a child in an Ambazonian school to learn how to make an electric car that will serve his community, or produce electricity that will serve his community, come out with a cure for ailments in his community, and graduate from school with talent backing that, than to get down there and have all these first school living, common entrance, O-level, GCE, A-level, GCE, degree in history, anthropology, or whatever you call it, and then you have a master's degree, you find out that you cannot do anything, you get a PhD, you find out that you cannot do anything with the PhD, and at the end of the day, you end up being frustrated. And then you come back to zero. You now have to come back and start learning how to drive a bike, or learning how to teach in a primary school. We have said no. We are not going to function like that. That system has failed us. We will have an interest in certification, no doubt, but we will teach our children to become problem solvers, to become creative in ways that help create those things that we need. I take, for instance, PS, just from your head to your toe, my dear, what is made in Ambazonia or Cameroon on you? Look around your house or your office or whatever. What is made in Ambazonia? So some people's children are taught in their schools to make things that come and drain our money and drain our resources. Our own children are trained, are occupied in school to do nothing. When you look at just that one example, that they make nothing, so they end up with nothing. So to come to the crux of the matter, we are not deceiving our children. Let it be very clear to so many parents. We are equipping the children with 21st century skills where they can fit anywhere. And we are also aligned with international organizations that certify what we are doing in the various schools that we are offering. Now, hello, are we together?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So we have not, even at the level of the primary school, we have not reached a level where we would be considered as a board to issue certification to people. Because if we consider that a school year, we started nursery and primary education in 2019, we were just helping the children to learn how to read and write. That is what exactly happened. And then by 2023, we started working on, we set up the panel to create the curriculum, to come up with the curriculum. And the curriculum took a full year to mature, and then we released it in 2023. What is the implication of this to somebody who has gone to school and has been able to know how schools function and educational systems operate? It means that with the introduction of the curriculum, that is when the actual teaching and learning, the skills that we want, the kind of education that we want, that is when it begins. So you cannot start talking about Ambazonian school. What educational certificates are you offering to your children? What are you doing that? When you have not answered the first question, what curriculum are you using? When you answer that question, what curriculum are you using? You go on to the next question. What are the pedagogic tools that you have placed at the disposal of the children and the teachers to be able to use to realize this curriculum? These are things that people are not answering. And these are the things that our people are not answering those questions. It would appear some of them want to go back to their vomit. The population wants something else, and a few people, because of soya, because of bread and sardine, they want something else. They want to go back to their vomit to take on what they had vomited. You wanted a school boycott, you wanted reforms. Now it's time for reforms. We have gone the egg of sea through the Ambazonian Education Board has done the reforms according to the demands of the consortium of teachers, parents, and children, and other stakeholders of the education family in Ambazonia. We have gone and diagnosed, looked at all the different grievances of the people of Ambazonia, and we have addressed them in the kind of curriculum we have put in place and the other policies and the instruments that can help in the execution of the curriculum. We have put all of this in place. 5 volumes, PS, 5 volumes of text. The list is 300 pages.
Okay.
We're not joking. We're not going back to our vomit. And it's high time Ambazonians who are not working should come to those who are working to find out what is going on. Stop behaving like mad people.
Okay.
You cannot to go and do stupid things. So
okay. Thank you very much. I will cut you short there.
There will be certification, my dear. There will be certification. And this certification will be based on the curriculum that we have introduced in 2023.
Perfect.
And we are
Thank you very much.
The other reform which is coming is that there will be no school exam for primary school children. Let them begin to prepare.
Okay.
They will just transition into the junior secondary. And after junior secondary, from 3, they will do the first examination, the Ambazonian Certificate of Education examination.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I hope there was a question on the comment section on that, and I hope that has clarified their curiosity and the curiosity of many Ambazonians out there who are questioning the authenticity of this educational system. But then the one part that we were also more interested to know is, has there been any schooling happening in Ambazonia? Has there been, do we have schools ongoing, and how long has this been going on, so that our people, and again, it is stated in the children's charter, in the children's right charter, that anything, it has to be done in the best interest of the children or the best interest of the child. And again, I know that there have been community schools on running in Ambazonia, in control areas and in areas that we have authority and control. And parents, people are asking the questions, how secured are these areas? And children going to schools in this community, in these areas, is it for the best interest for the children to go to school in these areas, considering that there is an ongoing war in Ambazonia? How would you address this issue? Chairman, in 2 minutes, I would like you to address Education Secretary, sorry. Please, you will go straight to the point, and also the chairman and Mabia will come in on this.
Okay, so the long and short of it is, we started teaching our children in 2019.
Perfect.
And we have only been growing our capacity to help the children learn skills,
Right,
and acquire knowledge in different areas where there is peace and tranquility. We have even put in place an online learning platform where a child at any level or anywhere in the world, hiding in any hole with a smart gadget, can be able to study without problems. We have said that all those communities where there is relative calm and there is peace, and you have chased out the occupiers, please adopt the Ambazonian curriculum of education and start implementing it. We have put in place community-based education. What does this mean? It means that a community can come together, take the curriculum and the guidelines are available as per our requisition, as per our demands in 2016. Take what has been provided, set up your school, recruit your teachers, look at what you can do, and set up the possibility to begin to train our people. Just as we were doing in the days of old, our people used to study and write exams in London. Our people used to study and write exams in West Africa, the West African GC. Amen. So there is nothing is changing. We used to write the London GC. We used to write the LCC and City and Guild. Now we are studying and writing exams in Google certified exams, Amazon certified exams. We are writing all kinds of examinations. And people should not pretend that they don't know. We have been putting this on ACN TV for people to see. We have a website. Go there and see. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Education Secretary, which is very important what you've said, that there is a website that has been put in place that is populated on a daily, weekly basis to update people on what is happening when it comes to our community school, when it comes to the Ambazonia Education Board. And also you mentioned that there is an online training that the Education Board has entered in partnership with to help educate our children during this time of crisis, those that are in the bush or wherever they are. But I would like us to talk more on that particular program because this is very important. And Chairman of Education Board, I would like to come to you. Talk to us about, because we've seen you post about Orion Ambazonia. What is Orion Ambazonia and how is it beneficial to people who are in a war zone and people who maybe sometimes don't have access to internet, and also children who are in the bush, in refugee camps? How can this really be of help to them? And so kindly talk to Ambazonia so Ambazonians will understand what the Education Board is doing in details.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Great viewers of PS Channel, PS TV. I welcome you to this wonderful discourse that she's hosting on her platform. Ambazonian people, we need to take up our destiny and run with it. And I'm advising our people in other areas where our community schools are not yet functional, embrace our revolution so that we can come to you, because we only go to places where we the people invite, like the name community. We go there where the people have accepted. And so when we come there, we come following the groundwork that our valiant patriotic volunteers have done, in chasing our colonial occupiers. And so when they're chased, every other thing can be installed. And so I'm advising communities to embrace the Amazonian Education Board, to take the advantage that we are offering, so that their children can learn. If you go to other places here in South Africa, during their struggle, there was a lot of illiteracy that took place because some people lost out in education. And so we have learned from revolutions, and so we are correcting that, such that when we get our independence, some people should not be found wanting. And so we are looking for means to include everybody, to make sure that some people don't lose out during this wartime that we are fighting. And so it depends on each community. Where there is relative calm, we will come in and we will install. And so before I go to tell you about the Orion EduTech Amazonia, which is an online platform for the Amazonian people that we have crafted, I would like to give you some statistics here. If I could share my screen with you, I don't know if I have that possibility to share my screen. I would have shown you videos and pictures of school games. I would have shown you videos of, some of those things we don't want to throw them out there because of the enemy. Schools are going in Bui, in the state of Bui. Come 2025, we will be having 55 schools. Can you hear that? 55 schools, Amazonian people, in the Bui, in the Bui state, that will be operational under the Amazonian Education Board, operating community schools. We will have 55, and then the school population will go up to about 8,300 learners. That's a lot during wartime. And then the teacher population will go to about 137 teachers, additional teachers that will come into play.
I would like you to share that information, sir. If you can look under the screen, can you see where it says present?
Okay. Yes.
Click on present and you will see on present share screen. Then you can share that information. It's important that Ambazonians, they see what you're saying.
Okay, let me share my screen. Share screen. Let's select entire screen. Okay, all right. Then you can go to some of this. Good. It will just be in flash because can you see that?
Not yet.
Can you see it?
Not yet.
No,
Not yet.
not anything.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me.
And that is okay. You can always send that to me as well, and I can share from here, and you explain to the people. So it's okay. You keep the audience on what you will share.
Okay. Let me see if that can be done. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Sharing.
Meanwhile, yes, can I come in, please?
Please, while he's looking on that, Mr. Education Secretary, come in.
You see, the whole idea is that we started off with the mind frame of school boycott. That was the traditional mentality that we started off with. After that, we said, no, school cannot wait. After studying other places, how people were fighting and then getting under tunnels, they were teaching children in underground tunnels in Eritrea, in Syria. They were teaching people using tablets in refugee camps. even present day Ukraine, they were running around with children in clusters, in families, and teaching continued. So we have insisted ever since we learned our lessons that education in Ambazonia cannot wait. And so we're using all the opportunities that we have to make sure that each child and each parent is touched so that you can get an informed decision and perform better. So what are we saying? We are saying that we are, even in areas where there is no network, Madam PS, you can download your study materials, and then you take to an area where you don't have network and you still use it. So the online platform offers opportunities for online and offline studies. So you must be able to be industrious enough and innovative enough to realize that you must run to school. Don't only allow school to run to you.
Exactly.
The Joas and the Fonchas and the Vezekovs, Folon, they studied, Folon left and Vezekov, they left Kumbu, came and studied in Ginicom for primary education with Foncha in Ginicom. And after primary school in Ginicom, they
Can you see my screen now?
Enugu, in Enugu.
Let's see. You want to expand it a little bit?
Yes.
I don't think we can see it very well.
No, Edu said, keep talking, please. Your people are listening.
Okay. So we are trying to, what are we trying to say? We are trying to say that Ambazonians should benefit from this revolution. They should benefit from this war. The war should teach you to be inventive, to be creative. You can't come out of a war like this and become very lazy and very unindustrious. You must be ready to be a go-getter. And so we are encouraging the parents and the students all over Ambazonia and even abroad, those of you who have escaped to any corner of the world, anchor in a school setting or get online and work with us to learn. So those of you at home, get the community together and apply the school programs that we have put in place. We have also introduced the homeschooling program. It means that even in your family, you can organize and teach your children to become somebody tomorrow. You must not wait for the office, the state institution to come in with schools and then the other bodies to come in with assistance to you. You can do it yourself. It is possible.
Perfect. Okay, we'll leave the chairman to come back in there, and I think he's sharing his screen is still a problem, but if you can continue with the statistics that you are trying to give to Ambazonians, that would be great, and then we will go, because we have a lot that I just want us to deal with, and the time is fast gone. So if you can give us that statistics so quick, very quick, that would be appreciated, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, so in 2025, in Bui alone, we'll be having 11,800 population of students that will be schooling, with 194 teachers come 2025. That's the projection we are having. In Momo alone, we have 30 schools, with the projection of 2 secondary schools that are coming in 2025. 2 secondary schools. So we are upgrading, because there are children who have studied and we don't want them to move out of their own area. And that's the beauty of a community education. The beauty of the Ambazonian Education Board is that we want to make everywhere in Ambazonia a place to stay, a place to be. You don't need to move out of Anyajwa to come to Bamenda, or to go to Tiko, or to go to Kumba, to go and study. We make every quarter, every place, vibrant. And that's what we see in economic in developed economies. Every quarter in this land here where I'm talking, every quarter has a mall, it has a shopping center. You know, everywhere you go is vibrant. It's just like you are in the city. And so we want to give that taste to the people. Coming to your question, the Orion online education. We have partnered with an Indian institution that is represented in 30 countries in the world, including America. They dish out education to America. America is a great nation. And so this educational platform that we have anchored Amazonian education in the meantime while we fight is a very reputable. If anybody wants to verify it, you are free to verify. And they have universities. And so we are just exploiting just one-tenth of the opportunity that this institution offers. They offer a lot. Exchange university studies, a lot of things that this platform can help Amazonians to grow their educational infrastructure. Because the goal of the Amazonian Education Board is that in 5-10 years time, Amazonia should become an education tourism destination. Can you hear that? An education tourism destination. That is our goal. That everybody in Africa, if you don't study in Amazonia, it's like you have not studied. Just like people have made Harvard. Harvard is a tourism destination study environment, and so that's what we want to give Amazonians. And so we have created an alliance. They've given us what we call a subsidy. They've given us a franchise. We are a franchise to that educational institution, and so it solves a problem for now. We are not yet with UNESCO. Even Cameroon, that is with UNESCO. Their certificates. When you go out of Cameroon with that certificate, even though it's recognized by UNESCO, they're still evaluated. The evaluation boards in different countries, they evaluate it. And sometimes, not sometimes, they downgrade it. Even though. So this institution, their certification is internationally recognized. And so if you study with this institution, you can go out of Amazonia and you can work with that certificate recognized internationally. And so that is the advantage of the Orion Amazonia Education Platform. As we speak now, ma'am, we have already given skills to Amazonians. We started with marketing. We started with marketing, digital marketing. We have graduated 4 Amazonians with the skills, digital skills in marketing, digital marketing skills. They have graduated. We have already graduated first and second batch. The first batch is 4. The second batch is 3. We have already the online education has produced poultry farmers experts, poultry farmers and feed production experts. Because what the Amazonian Education Board is doing is that we want that in the next 5 to 10 years, Amazonia should be one of the great producers of birds. That's chicken. We want to stop importation of chicken. That is through education. And so we have already trained about 8 Amazonians. We have trained on the ground. I'm talking people who are on the ground and they have passed their examination. There's only one person who failed. We have those statistics. I'll send them to you. trained and they have passed their exams already. And
Perfect.
with demonstration of farms, we are already creating farms here and there where the people would go there and do their practicals. And so that is the importance of the Orion education. As we speak now, the course that we are doing now is the AI. We are enrolling people, and the president of the Ambazonian Governing Council is giving scholarships. All these people who have studied, be it marketing, digital marketing, be it poultry farming and feed production, most of them are under the presidential scholarship of Dr. Cho Ayaba. He gave them scholarship to study. And we have the AI, the artificial intelligence. We have looked around the world and see the evolution of the artificial intelligence and how it is revolutionizing skills and vocation nowadays. We looked at it as a board and we said, no, we need to give the skills to Amazonians. We have launched it, but as Education Secretary said, change is difficult to hearken to. Change is difficult to come by. We have been in this quagmire for over 63 years, and so people's minds have been twisted, and so they don't see good, they don't see benefit in certain things, but they will see it. They will see it. Maybe some will see it late, but I'm calling on all Amazonians to take advantage of this platform and study. So our educational system is backed by this institution. Every certificate that any of our students will study, be it primary, be it what, we have a guarantee that this education is backed. So our certification is backed. And so the Ambazonian education is not even rooted on, like other speakers have said, it's not rooted on certification. It's rooted on skills, where you will do a portfolio of evidence. Portfolio of evidence means that you have gone through a theoretical, you're going through a practical, and this portfolio of evidence certifies that you actually know what you're doing, so you can become an expert in whatever domain you've chosen to be. So that's the kind of education that we are building and dishing out at the same time. We are building and dishing out at the same time to the Ambazonian people. And I call on all Ambazonians, be them, like the Education Secretary has said, be them in the diaspora. We have students that have gone through the online education platform who are in the diaspora. They've taken that opportunity to study and upgrade themselves and be of good use to themselves and to the family and to the environment. And so I thank you so much, PS, for this wonderful opportunity. We don't have too much time to unpack everything that we're doing.
Don't worry, we still have a few more minutes. We will answer very pertinent questions that people would like you to answer.
Yes,
but I would like you to go on from
time
there.
just to show you videos, it will take the whole program. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Problem.
There's a lot.
We will organize another session for that. But before we go forward, I understand that I know I was listening to the leader of our liberation in an audio message. We were talking about a consultative meeting that you guys had with other movements in the organization in the Ambazonian struggle, and the issue of a school reopening came up, and others. The president mentioned about agreeing on a date and not agreeing on a date, and also people questioning, other leaders questioning why education starts in January and not September, and others even claiming that they've never heard or seen any country that education started in January or other countries. Can you throw more light to this? I want to leave Mabia to start with this because she wanted us to bring up this topic. Mabia, would you want to come in here, time in before the chairman comes in?
Yeah. On the education part, let me just mention where our curriculum, just a little bit to tie up to everybody. Exactly. Our curriculum was made based on a crisis situation and an evolving nation. So it's a cross between. It wasn't just something we just picked. We studied all the other countries that had crises, what form of education they were giving to the children, and then an evolving nation with what is going on in the world. How can we get these children not to be left behind? If you ask me, we wrote this curriculum for us in Ambazonia. This curriculum can even be used in La République du Cameroon because they are also in a crisis situation where there is unemployment going there, there is poverty going there, there is bankruptcy going there. They need this form of education system, which is a cross between crisis and evolving nation. So those kind of education system is focused on skills, not certification. Because what you want is to build a country to build itself up. And you don't build yourself up by just kind of tying these people down to a form of certification. I want to direct people to read something, this book, Skills Rather Than Just Degree, is written by Professor Isa Ali Patomi. He actually talks about this so you can understand where we are going with our education. It really helps why we are focused on skills, not on certification. But let's come back to this disagreement on education or the date when schools need to start. I will read something first to our people. The future belongs to those who are willing to continuously learn, unlearn, and relearn. That's where the future belongs. Our people, for some reason, have refused to unlearn and relearn. The system of education that La République du Cameroon taught us is a system of education where we don't have problem-solving skills. When I say problem-solving skills, we were not taught to work in groups. We were not taught to have group projects where we sit, we talk, we come up with a solution, and we put that solution up. It is still the problem that is causing us a lot of our problems today with leaders, the leaders who cannot just sit and learn from another person and unlearn the bad habits probably that they have and come up with a solution. Before any other leader of another group was questioning the date of when community schools should start, the question from their mind that I should ask them, do they have any schools? Before you want to come up with a date when school is supposed to start, do you have any school? Do you have any curriculum? Do you have anything that you've been doing? Why don't you first ask the people who are on the ground running schools in controlled area, how do you do with those schools? Where do you have the schools? What do you do with the schools? When should we start? Give that person the chance to present it to you. Then you can argue if you have something to present better than that. That has been our problem. Unlearning, relearning, learning from others. What does knowledge means? Facts, information, skill. And what does education means? To learn from others, or to educate others, and others to educate you, to learn from experience. That's what education means, and that's what knowledge means. We should start practicing these things, and then we can be able to come up with better decisions on what we need to do. So this idea of a date on when schools need to start, actually, they should have talked to Dr. Cho Ayaba and asked him about the community schools, let him present his case, get his education secretary, get the chairman of education, and then they talk and they say, yeah, This is the date, and we agree with you. It wouldn't have been any problem.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mabia. And just to add the question of people, I know that Comrade Elvis Kometa was arguing that they don't know a country that has starts education in January. I have some few names here and statistics here. Just to clear our people, let them know that it is not a standard practice that education, that school resumption must start in September. No, it is no standard practice at all. And there are a lot of countries whose educational system starts in different months of the year. And in Australia, we have between January and February, New Zealand, January, February, South Africa, January, Argentina is even March, Brazil is February, India is April and June, Japan is April, South Korea is March, Thailand is May, Kenya is January, Singapore is January, Malaysia is January, Nigeria, okay, where September, October, and then Chile is March, Indonesia is July, Bangladesh is January, Pakistan is April, Vietnam is August, Hong Kong is October, the Philippines is June. So just to bring that to rest so that people will know that there is no standard law that says that a particular school year must reopen in September. So let us put this to rest. And those who are so uninformed about all of these things, before you come up to argue on something, kindly make your due diligence, do research before you come up to speak, so that you speak from a place of power and authority. So thank you very much for clarifying that, Mabia. And I want us to, there are a lot of issues that people are really anxious for us to address. And this, I will bring in the former chair lady of the education board, because I want to talk about self-reliance and practical educational models, because this is what the Amazonian education, from what you people have said, is trying to present to the people. So, we know that countries like Germany, Switzerland have this robust vocational educational system that equips students with practical skills for workforce. So how does the Amazonian education system plan to incorporate vocational training to ensure that graduates are self-reliant and immediately employable after education? And I would like to bring in the former chair lady for the education board to answer this question, but most especially tallying it to the educational system in these countries I've mentioned, including Finland, Singapore, Japan, that are more involved in adaptive trainings, creative skills, and all of these things. I know you guys have a concept before coming in with before developing this system. So, chair lady, go ahead. Amber lady.
Thank you very much, PS. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, ma'am.
Wonderful, wonderful. I want to start by thanking you wholeheartedly for putting all of this together. I want to thank the chairman of the education board, the EduSec, and all the other members of the board, those who are working tirelessly to continue with the work that we started in 2018. It's amazing to just sit here and listen to all of you speak. And I can see the passion that each and every one of you have, when it comes to the education of our people. It's very difficult for me to go directly answering that question without touching on some of the reasons why we came up with this education board. I know some things have been said, but I really want to remember that we have to keep in mind, and this goes to the Amazonian people, and of course, even to La Republic citizens as well. Education has been used as a tool to keep us in bondage. This is not something that started with Amazonia. It has been there time immemorial. There's a saying that if you want to hide something from people, from even Black people, you put it in the books. That's just a fact. And I think as a generation, we have been cheated. We have been deprived. And I say that with all certainty, knowing that when I moved from my own home country, Amazonia, to the West, and I saw the way education was being conducted, the way teachers, the way learning, took place, I was baffled. I wondered what kind of education I had actually been provided with. And I only realized at that point that, this is intentional. It wasn't just a coincidence. It was well designed to make sure that Amazonians will never be able to compete, in the international market. We will never be able to develop those skills that would make us assets rather than liability. And I think this is where the Amazonian Education Board comes in. So, my dear people, I want to say that for those who are still Thomases, when we came up with or the idea of the Amazonian Education Board, like the EduSec had already said, we had to provide an alternative because we all know how important education is. We don't want to have a country and then have people who are illiterate. We don't want that. So the Education Board came up, and again, somebody also, I think it's Mabia, who said we have to, or maybe it's a comment that I picked up from the comment section. We already need to start preparing to have a country of our own. This is very, very, very important. And before we started, I know that the chairperson and the board has done a fantastic job to continue with the work that we just started. But I want us to remember that everything that is being said here is not something that people just slept, and woke up one morning and decided that this is what we're gonna do. It's painstaking, time-consuming resources put in to map out education systems of the best ones in the world, put them together and come up with something that reflects Ambazonia, taking into consideration our own local realities, adapting it. I was so glad when they kept talking about skills based, no curriculum, competency based curriculum. And we thought that, identifying, children, because our children are so capable of so many things. But unfortunately, the way the system has been, those skills are dead even before they don't even realize they have those skills. So when you identify those skills from the very get-go, you develop them, the child grow up and become an expert in whatever area. Let me give you a typical example. We growing up, we knew that technical education is for those who are very, very dull, like those who are not smart. That's what we taught. Why French Cameroon put all the children in technical education, we were focusing on general education. We thought that, okay, if I don't go to high school, then something is wrong. I need to become maybe a doctor. I need to become, a teacher, a maths teacher, or a physics teacher, and all of that. Why they were clearly educating their children in hands-on skills, and that is what we need. So basically, the curriculum was or has been designed, which is still work in progress, in a way that will bring out these different skills from the kids. We will partner with different companies where children already are able to practice. This is what we call learning by developing. That's a very, very good pedagogical model that can be used in Amazonia. Learning by developing, which means that you have the educational institution, you have the different companies, you have the kids who are studying, or the students. So together they identify the different needs of the population, different areas where things needs to be developed, and they work together with those companies to create solutions for those different problems. So that is the future of Amazonia. So we are hoping that our kids will be able to compete in the international market. And let me make one thing very clear. This is a reality. My master's thesis was on 21st century skills. That is what I did for my master's. And I can tell you that Amazonian kids, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot to make sure that this curriculum of education will enable our children to acquire the 21st century skills that makes them very, very hot, like they're hot cake anywhere, not only in Amazonia, but outside, out of Amazonia. So it is super important for us to take this very seriously. We cannot have a country without having, people who help to rebuild, without having, experts in the fields, different fields of life, different sectors of life. Sorry. So we need We need to keep this in mind. PS, I don't know if I answered your question, but yes, we will be partnering. We should be partnering with different companies. So students are learning as they go. You know, they learn, they study, they do the theory in school, they do the practice, and sometimes they even learn why they are working in those different companies.
Perfect.
So on the job, okay,
Yeah.
learning. That's another one option.
Okay. Thank you very much. And you have quite said that, and I know that when I was looking through the curriculum there, I saw the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, which is abbreviated as STEM. And so we know that countries like China have focused on developing on this very strong this thing STEM. I know because I've not given you a chance, you've not spoken since the discussion started. I still want to just give you the Amazonians, like you said, most of us have acquired. There is no average Amazonian you will want to, like, you know, out here in the diaspora that you will not hear. I have 2 masters in this. I have 2 bachelors in this. I have a PhD in this, a post PhD in a postdoctorate in this and that, and still they are still as broke as anybody who didn't even see the 4 walls of the secondary school. But this is what we want to change in the Amazonian education system, so that our children will not go through the same torment that we've gone through. You see somebody at 40 still struggling to get a job because they don't have a skill. They have all the certificates, they have all the education, but yet they don't have the skill. So in this what is the Amazonian Education Board? Like, I know you've talked about this, but China focuses on this. Do we, in this education, this curriculum, focus is technical skills an option, or is something that has to be implemented as practice in the schools? And also, when students, we know that when students graduate in countries like Ghana or in Nigeria, they go for youth service, where they allow them to even learn practical skills to what they study in school, so that it helps them to gain employment. Are we preparing our students for this, or before they even finish, they are already prepared for the market? I know I went 2 rounds, chair lady. We can't hear you. If you are you speaking, Amber lady?
Yes, you cannot hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay. Yes. To respond to your question, what I think is that, like I already mentioned, we're focusing on skills, competencies. Our children will start developing different kinds of skills from the very get-go. I think one very important skill that somebody mentioned, I don't know if it's Mabia, was problem-solving skills, critical analytic skills. These are just a few skills that I can just mention here, but it's a long list of them, right? Yeah, so like I said, the students should be able to work with the different companies, okay? Work together with the different companies to address the problems that we are having, create solutions together. When you create a solution with a company, you are already part of that company. So it is definitely a very, very, or it's advantageous. It's a gateway for you to become, you know, an employer, an employee in that company. So that is very important. I don't know if I'm addressing your question, but again, that's the way it should work. There will be different models. There are different ways to approach this. You would have sets of students who are working with the companies directly, and then you would have sets of students who are having theories and then going to practice, or then you will have the ones that are doing on-the-job learning. Perfect. So you have 3 different categories or even more.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, chair lady. And Mabia, I will just ask this to you, because this person sent me this question and is really insisting that I have this question asked to you guys. His question says, how can the education system in Amazonia be transformed to prioritize indigenous language, knowledge, languages, and cultural practices, while also incorporating global perspective and skills to empower students to become active participants in their communities and global development.
Okay. I think one of the things that I'm going to really discourage a lot is your program is Pan-Africanism. One of the things I discourage a lot is for us to try to make things that are related to our ethnicity, like a different group of people, tribes or something like that, or languages or something. Let's try to standardize it to something where everybody can communicate in that same language. For now, English is what we all can communicate with. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's keep it English. Let's not look at English like the colonial master brought that to us. So yes, we have to kick it away or something. That's our universal language. Is it fortunate? Is it unfortunate? We have a lot of languages. That's just how it is. We are just a group of people with a lot of languages. It's not an American that all of them speak English, so it's easy. We are from different ethnic groups, and we just have to accept the fact that English should be the form that we'll have to teach all our children. The other part of your question I missed again.
Yeah, I will bring that back to you. So the person is saying that how do we, prioritize knowledge, languages, cultural practices, while also incorporating global perspective to skills to empower students to become active participants in the global community?
Global community. Okay. So the second part of what I also want to talk, which I was going to actually mention it in our part of the community curriculum. We have actually a curriculum on morality, which is going to be part of the educational system in Amazonia. When you talk about morality, sometimes people want to think about religion. The reason it's just morality is because we want to keep religion out of it. You can have more values without actually being a Catholic or Presbyterian or something. We feel that if you teach people moral values, it might be helpful. We should not just leave it to parents to teach what they're teaching their children at home as what is good and what is bad. It should also be taught in school, because a child who comes from a difficult home can actually learn something in school that can actually help them to change their view. So morality is one of our big curriculum that we are going to introduce into the system. Okay, coming to our children getting into the universal system or something like that. Yes. This is why we're going to encourage them on critical thinking. Critical thinking is one of our big attributes in the community education, where we want children to think outside the box, create stuff. We if you look at YouTube or you look at, you'll see where a child has created a bicycle using a wood and those kind of things. And then this child is never encouraged from that level to grow out of it, to grow more. These may be children who would one day create the best bikes in the community or something like that. But we, for some reason, we don't encourage these children to think more than what because their mind just gets focused on, I'm going to work in the government, and that's it. He creates the bike and he throws it on one side. The parents, the parents, we don't say, oh my gosh, this is a child that needs to be encouraged to grow from this, and look around and see who is that man who is doing something like mechanical things or something. Let me take this child there, maybe as an after school project or evenings or Saturdays, so that this child can grow out of it. This is what we want to encourage for on our children, this creative mind, for them to come out of it, so that they can be able, their competitions that are being organized by international community, we've all seen them. And you see a Nigerian child won for being the best in computer or this is. We want to make our children have these skills so that they too can compete in the international community and come out and create something for us.
Okay. Okay.
So,
thank you very much for that, Mabia. And I will just we've all lived in a society and grow up in a society, like Chair Lady Emma said. Those that went to vocational school were considered like those that are not, well-to-do, and again, those that learn hairdressing were considered those that were poor, or were considered those that were not smart in school. Those that went for carpentry were seen as people who were poor, or people who were not intelligent enough to go to school. Those that did welding, plumbing, farming, and all of these things were really discouraged, because you see a tailor now that we can really truly call them designers, and all of these were people we considered, they don't have the brains to go to school. And yet these are the people that are turning the war, that are beautifying the war, that are making the war become a reality. So in the Ambazonian education curriculum, what place do we have for? I know we are talking about practical skills, but there are basic practical skills that we are not really mentioning. We are only talking about, building cars, building this. But what about these people who are so talented? Anybody can pick a piece of cloth and turn it into anything. Somebody can just look at pick anything and turn it into a very beautiful hair. And what place do we have for these people in this new Ambazonia? EduSec, if you're here, please, before the chairman comes in.
Well, thank you for that opportunity. Please, I have really been admiring you people talk. It's beautiful. So please, look, we said to build this house called Ambazonia, and Ambazonia education, we have to scatter the thing and start afresh. That is the way we conceived it. And we had to do it without prejudice, without a colonial mindset. We forgot even that La Republique exists. You understand? And then we laid the groundwork. We looked at our society. People have been brainwashed into thinking that education is a Western construct that has come down on us. We are supposed to follow this pattern, do this, blah, 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 according to ABC. But history has proven that even the Greek people came down to Africa to study in Africa before they went back, started the whole idea about the Western civilization, and then it spilled through Europe and then went through America and came back to Africa as if it is something that nobody knew about. So we said, no, let us start from the basic foundation. We said, what is education about? That is where it all begins. Until you know the definition of education, you won't be able to factor in the subjects that are supposed to be in a curriculum. If we say an educational system is there to solve problems, is there to creatively bring us to a position of power, to be able to do and undo as per the principles that God enshrined in us, then we have work to do. So we said, okay, let's see. What do we want? We want to move from darkness into light. We want to move from a situation where we have lack, absence of a lot of things, to the presence of a lot of things. We want to be an economy that creates its own goods and services instead of importing goods and services. We want to grow our economy. We want to live the highest standard of life. As Mabi has put it, the foundation for living the highest standard of life is do unto others what you want them to do unto you. That is why the subject morality comes into play. Bam. Two, we said The first thing that somebody thinks about in life, as soon as you are born, the child is crying, cries. He cries for what? He cries for food. He cries for warmth. That's clothing. And so we said there must be a subject that teaches us about food, how to get it, the right quantity, the condiments of it. I mean, everything that you need to know about food. So we have a subject in the curriculum that has to do with nutrition. We have a subject in the curriculum that has to do with cloth making. We have subjects on the curriculum that have to do with medicine, holistic medicine. You know, we started, we started, we are not going to go to the school and then say, okay, what did the old system say? We say we did general knowledge, we did chemistry, physics, this and that, all those standard subjects that lead us to nowhere. No, we try to recalibrate and come up with subjects that empower us to be masters of our own environment, moving from the known to the unknown.
Okay.
And you put a question the other time very clearly. How then do we use local reality to match with global perspectives? That is where the subject comes in now. How did our people teach our own children to cope and society? How did we cure ourselves when we were sick? So we will go back to the basics. We will start with traditional medicinal practices, incorporate conventional medicinal practices, oriental medicinal practices, and even yoga. We will teach everything. And no religion, let us be very clear, no church, no scientist will come to tell us what to do if this is not based on principles that are acceptable to everybody everywhere. You remember when we were growing up in a natural environment and growing our own food in a natural environment, scientists came in and told us that no, you need fertilizers, you need pesticides, you need chemical this and that and that. We jumped on it. After some time, they came back again and told us that no, ecological food is very, very good. You'll be dying if you do something else. And then we jump back again. We want to go back to ecological food. So next time, what will they tell you? So what we are saying is that Ambazonians must take care of their destiny. And taking care of your destiny, you are not going to build your house based on a form that is produced by somebody. Because it is your life. That is why in the medical field, they say that you don't allow a doctor, a medical officer to put something, to inject you with a vaccine that you have not approved, or that is not internationally acceptable, has not been certified. The processes for accepting the vaccine has not gone through. No. So we are not going to come and sit in Ambazonia and then allow you to come and dictate to us. And let me tell you, there is a clause in the France-Afrique Neo-Colonial Pact that Cameroon signed with France that no educational reform will be carried out in the Cameroons without the approval of France. Do you remember that? And what was the purpose of that? You people have stated clearly that they wanted us to remain at the level of consumers so that they finish producing everything, come and sell to you, take the raw materials away, and then come with finished goods. They put you at a disadvantage and make you helpless, always depending on them. And the worst of them, they bring in second-hand clothes to come and second-hand everything. They do dumping in your society. We have said, no, we're not going to do that. So we are going to have a technical department that introduces subjects that create our own machines, technologically savvy persons that will solve our problems. We're going to introduce computer literacy at a stage that matches the international standards. We're not going to go to the classrooms and keep drawing computers, drawing the mouse, defining a mouse, drawing a mosquito, and naming parts, drawing a tree. All that nonsense will stop. And we're not going to talk about Abraham Lincoln here and other kinds of things. We will let them wait. Let us, we cannot be
Okay.
hungry.
Thank you very much, Edusek. Thank you.
No.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for that response. And Mabia, I'll just give you another 2 minutes just to add to what Edusek has said. If you have anything to add to that, then I'll come to you, Chairman, to ask the final questions, because by all means, we'll have to wrap this up in the next few minutes. Mabia, please go ahead. If you... Mabia, you're muted.
Okay, still about our children learning skills. I will still emphasize to our parents, because I know there's so much doubt. You cannot unlearn. I did talk about learning and unlearning and relearning. Unlearn something that you've been told for a long time, for many years, 63 years, that certification is a preferred way to go. I'm trying to tell our parents and our family members, friends, Ambazonians, even, like I said, La République de Cameroon, who needs to learn too, that the new evolving nation is for children to learn skills. You can go to school. Nobody is disagreeing on that. Nobody disagrees. Have your degrees all you want, but remember, what is going to get you a little bit better is the skills. You remember I mentioned my neighbors around me, how much they're doing just by skills. Learning those things is very important. If you see one of your children at home who is trying to learn some skill, encourage the children. We keep discouraging our children. When you get one of them who doesn't want to be that doctor or lawyer, people start saying, oh, that one dull, and this and that. And you discourage them. Be on the side of this child. Support this child in the skill they are good at. Those children who went to the Olympics and succeeded in the Olympics were because their parents encouraged them. When they saw that this child was good in gymnastics, they paid attention to it. They followed up with this child and they made sure they become something out of it. You notice your child is this child who knows how to sell stuff. Encourage them in marketing. That is part of our curriculum. You train them in skills. They register in Orion, e-learning, do some marketing, and grow out of it and grow into something. When we do these things, we are creating a great nation. A nation that encourages education, creativity grows, because this child is going to create a job, a business, and they need 10 other people to work with him. And that's 10 other people that will be employed in that country. Exactly. And if every child starts coming up and building something out of it, this nation will not be a nation without jobs. We will have jobs. A mechanic that grows creates jobs for other mechanics.
That's true. Perfect. Thank you very much, Mabia. And this is for you, the chairman. And just we are wrapping this up right now. We are wrapping this up in a few minutes. And so this is a question that came in from somebody, the chairman, and I would like you to address this because I think it's important. He said, in many countries such as Rwanda, after the genocide, education has been a key tool for national reconciliation and rebuilding. How do you see the Ambazonia education system playing a similar role in post-Ambazonia? Chairman, did you hear that question?
I heard you. Okay. Yes, thank you so much for the pains taken, for the time we've taken so far to, to throw more light on the Amazonian Education Board. I want to thank uh, Chair Lady Emma for that wonderful contribution and for the groundwork, and that we just working on their footsteps to get that done. There's a lot that we need to unpack. I think we need another program again to be able to get into the nix of the matter, to get into real business with this vast department. Education is the lifeline of a nation, is the backbone of a nation. And a nation that is not educated is a dumb nation. Education puts money on the table. Education grows the nation, and so we need to put more emphasis on that, so we get people to light. Certification, I say, is not the best way
No,
to evaluate. That we have
my
agreed.
question is not on
Yeah, no,
certification.
I am
Okay.
I'm coming to you. I'm coming to that.
Why
This
don't
was
you
just a
keep that for your
prelude to
concluding
so.
statement? I would like you to put that in your
Oh,
concluding
I
statement.
thought we were concluding. Okay, all
No,
right.
that
I
was a
thought we were
question that was
concluding.
asked
Okay,
by
that's it.
somebody. If you could answer that question.
All right. So Rwanda, we will do what Rwanda did not do. Let me just
Okay.
put it in that way, because yeah, we will do what Rwanda did not do. Uh, Rwanda has taken a very long time, but I think we will take a shorter time. Uh, Comparatively, if you look at what is going on in Burkina Faso, you will attest with me that it needs a will, it needs a political will, it needs positive minds to be able to effect change in a space of time. Traore is just 3 to 4 years old in that office, and the great work that he is doing is fantabulous. You know, come December, he's launching his first satellite. This is something that other nations, big nations that have existed for a long time, including Cameroon, for 63 years old, have not even dreamed of. And so we are laying the ground foundation now, and we are calling on Amazonians to come on board, get themselves trained. If Traore is launching a satellite into space to take care of information and all kinds of advantages that the satellite will bring, is because somebody in that nation uh, identified that skill, the space education skill, the NASA skill, and went for it. And so Traore has somebody who can champion that. And so we are calling on Amazonians to get school now. Get school. Identify yourself. Identify a field that you think you have love for, and skill yourself to the maximum. Because time is coming when you will be needed. You'll be needed to put in that skill to build a nation. And so I'm saying that uh, Rwanda, after the genocide, after their quagmire, have emerged. But we will do more. We will do more in a very short space of time if Amazonians cooperate with what we are putting forward for them as skills and vocation. Thank you so much.
Let me
Okay.
add on
Thank
to
you very
that. Let me add on to that, PS. Rwanda using education as a form of like bringing peace among the people is also our own idea of what we will want to do.
Right.
We will use education to stamp up what the colonial master has taught us to have: Northwest, Southwest, language barriers, all those kind of things. And that is the reason why I was saying that morality has been chosen as one of our very important curriculum that we teach in school.
Perfect. Thank you
Because
very much.
we want people to understand the idea, like EduSec say, do unto others what you want them to do to you. That little part is enough. Sometimes not enough, but continuous education, which is what we're starting from the grassroots now, would be what we want to carry forward when we have a country to bring the people together.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mabia. And I'll start with you to conclude by answering this question and then giving your closing remark. So, like you said, Rwanda has done so much, use education as a means of reconciliation and re-establishing, rebuilding the mindset of Rwandans. And this is what Ambazonia looks forward to do, especially destroying these useless and negative narratives that have always been running around Northwest, Southwest, and all this stuff. But then I'm looking at this, the education system in post-conflict societies, especially a country like Northern Ireland, has really evolved. So what lessons can Ambazonians learn as it seeks to establish its own educational system amidst this, or in post-Ambazonia? So what lessons are we learning from other countries? Do we have a team that is also putting these lessons together to see how we can prepare Ambazonians after this thing, especially going through the route of education? And you can then conclude yourself with that.
I would use a statement made by Pope John Paul during when he was asked about the Ukrainian and the Russian war. What he had to say about the Ukrainian, this was his statement. Those who love something, defend it. If you love something, you will defend it. To Ambazonians, if you love Ambazonian, you will defend it. Right. If you love education, you will defend it. That is why we're here in this panel today, taking this length of time to talk about education. There are very few people in the education department. We need more people. Come and defend what you believe in. You want a country that is competitive in the world, that everybody is not running out of the country? Come and defend it. And the only way to defend a country is what Nelson Mandela said, like you said earlier. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Which you can use to change the world. If we want to change the world, that's the international community, Ambazonian, we need to educate ourselves.
Exactly.
A country that encourages education grows. That's another thing that I'll say. No one is going to give you the education you need. Your people who want you to grow will help you to get that education. But you seeking for that education has to be intentional. Don't wait for somebody. Ambazonians keep waiting for people. Let's share, share, share. That's what we say all the time. Share the information, share the information. It makes me sometimes like, why do I even have to go look for them to be telling them what is happening in their own country? You should seek to know what is happening in your country. So means you should be doing the research. You should be following up on what is happening. The community schools have existed since 2018, as we said. Many Ambazonians do not know about it.
And they're still asking questions.
They're asking questions. After that school, they know what they talk about. Those kind of questions. Keep asking questions. The schools do exist. And I always tell people, if you want to know, get into it. That's how you know. Get into the education department, get into the group that is talking, and you seeing what is happening. Get into AGOFC and find out what's happening. get into the education department again, as I'm still saying. In conclusion, I just want to talk about what our education is about.
Perfect.
Summary. Our education is about impacting knowledge to the people.
That's right.
Our education is about the value system. Value system is corrupt all over the world. But some countries have now known that it's important to teach morality, not just let the parents do it, teach it in school.
Right.
So our education system values morality, critical thinking. We are going to need people who will be doing research. Don't just sit and wait to be fed all materials. The world is evolving. Just like Edusek was talking about nutrition. It's changing. What we learned a few years ago about fat being the bad guy in a meal, we are learning fat is not the bad guy in the meal. So if you are sitting there and never doing your research, you will be with old stuff. And that is what happens. Sometimes we go to the hospitals in Amazonia today. The doctors may still be practicing what they learned a long time ago.
That's right.
We are encouraging our pupils in school from young children. Research, research, research. Open YouTube, find out the information, learn for yourself. People talk about the revolution all the time, and then you're like, did you do your research about it, or you just want to talk because everybody's talking? Do your research.
Research, right?
Yes. Even about our different groups. If people were doing their research, they won't be fumbling around. They won't be giving money to the wrong places.
That's right.
The next thing is problem solving. That is part of our curriculum. Group project. We are not going to encourage this. First in class is Mary B. Second in class is Rosemary. Those kind of things. We're not going to encourage that.
Exactly.
We're going to encourage group projects. It encourages problem solving. If we were taught that, I'm telling you, this revolution would not be so disjointed.
Disarray. That's true.
Everybody is talking and going because we were so individualistic in the way we think. Because we're always, you had to be the A student, you had to be the leader, you had to be this.
Yes.
We were not taught this group project way, and that's what we are going to do. In all the thing, in the gardenings and everything that we're teaching the children is a group thing. Let each child speak, let them come up with ideas. The next thing is creativity. Like I talked about, a little child creating a bike, encourage the child.
Yes.
What more is there? What can you do to make this bike to run on the road? Encourage them. And the next thing, like we said, the best part of it is skills. Telling them you need skills. Even if it's a child who is thinking of coming to America tomorrow, or to Ireland, or to any country, when you come with your tailoring skills, my sister, my brother, you're better than all of us who came with the university degree. You're going to start right away to make money and survive.
That's correct. Thank you very much for that conclusion, Mabia. And to you, Edusek, can you come with your conclusive statement if you're still here? Chairman, can you come in? Okay, he's here.
I thank you so much. Thank you so much, PS. Thank you so much, Mabia. That is just so wonderful.
Excellent.
If we could just end there, it would be fine. But since I must talk, I will talk. And
make it short.
But I'll make it very short.
Yes.
Ambazonians, stop sleeping in the classroom.
Right.
Stop sleeping in your villages, your towns, your hiding places. The situation is so bad in Ambazonia that people who were victims of the Legnos disaster are now betraying Ambazonia. because of bread and sardine. So you can see the kind of education that they have,
That's right.
the fruits of a very bad educational system, morality at a very low age. You are running away from an enemy that is killing your people from night to day, and you are frightened by them every day. You are so scared that sometimes before you pronounce the word ambassador, you look through the window. You are scared while walking about with your phone that somebody will ask you what is in that phone. And then the whole country is gripped by a certain degree of fear. How can you become effective in an atmosphere of fear, my country people? You have to get out of that. Education will help us to do that. How can you run away from your people who are killed by a people who are killing you without remorse, and then you go and run and hide in his own house? Only a fool will run away from fire and then go to the source of the fire to hide. There is something definitely wrong. I hope ambassadors are understanding this. And I hope that education will really take the place that it really deserves. If it does not, then one morning you will get up and see ambassadors celebrating the fact that they have sold off their father's lands and they have asked them to go and serve in plantations in Paris or wherever they may be shipped to. It will be them, they will be celebrating. So the situation is so bad that ambassadors are so individualistic. Everybody for himself, God for us all. What everybody is asking a question, what is in it for me? What is in it for me? Nobody is interested in the communal interest. And so if you have to build a hospital and make all the millions and the hospital collapses on the people, or you build a road or a stadium or some kind of infrastructural development project and then it collapses, you have no problem so long as you make your money and then escape to begin to enjoy in Dubai or somewhere else. That shows that there is something definitely wrong. We must address that. There is something wrong when somebody is there preaching to you about going to heaven and you see him amassing wealth and going fat and buying cars and building bigger temples. There is something wrong.
Okay.
There is something wrong when Amazonians are sitting there and watching evil from day to night and they are coming to entertain them with things like nyas, with things like beer, with things like football, with all kind of gambling things and all that. There is something wrong. And until there is something wrong when individuals who are supposed to be your leaders are cutting away the money, taking all the money and selling all their resources and leaving you with nothing and leaving your classrooms empty. Teachers are improvising to teach a computer in the classroom in the 21st century in Ambazonian schools. You are improvising to draw a computer on the blackboard and try to make the child in Anyajua conceive, try to perceive what a computer is because you have never seen it. It is a shame. Cameroonians who are sitting on the rights of ambassadors should be ashamed of themselves. And you go to them, you see the children are sitting under trees and in horrible environmental settings and learning. What learning can take place in an atmosphere where children are hungry, where the classroom is not conducive? Is it about ABC? When somebody is not even able to pronounce his words well, because you are paying a teacher 5,000 francs, 10,000. A priest sometimes, a pastor sometimes told me that 10,000, you take it. If you don't take it, other people will take it. To teach a child for 1 month and for 9 months of the academic year, or 10 months of the academic year, there is no moral qualm. Something is definitely wrong. And I'm using this platform to appeal to Ambazonians. Join us and let us fight this evil and set ourselves free from mental slavery. Set ourselves free from emotional pressure. Get ourselves out of this traumatic environment and be at least free to move about and do what we want to do with ease and be able to be contented where we are and stop running around like mad people chased by who knows what. and pretending that everything is fine when it is not.
Okay.
And so please, we can get into our website. You have details about what we are talking about here. We were just exciting you. We are not giving you the core issues. We are just giving you tips of the iceberg so that it can excite you to want to know more. So you can get to us or through the community education coordinators and learn more in areas where we are, or approach us where we are. Our contact is there. And then you know more. This is salvation we are bringing to you. There is no other gospel that is better than this. And so please, come out there and study. We have come up with new kinds of subjects. P.S. you asked about subjects. The subjects on the curriculum of Ambazonian schools are very interesting. That is why the chairman, I dug my heart to our honorable ma'am here for the work they are doing. Day and night, they are meeting at night every time they meet and talk about education. And many other professionals that are involved in this research and the products that are there now for people to use. We praise you, we thank you. And we're using this platform to ask Ambazonians to get out of that darkness. You cannot allow a president to single-handedly sell your oil well and then pocket the money, go and spend it. When he can take that oil well, that money, and then invest in a classroom somewhere. And that classroom will be equipped with gadgets that will give a state-of-the-art kind of learning atmosphere for the children. Teachers go on strike because of salary problems and then allowances that are not paid, and they are comfortable. Every day the minister is sitting there and signing checks and cutting money in Mokuta bags and sending it to his family, hiding some in the grass, hiding some in the ceiling, hiding some underground, building kind of, there is a disease that has captured these guys. Ambazonians wake up, Cameroonians wake up and get the devil out of. There are demons everywhere, my people. But the one that has taken possession of our leaders and has taken possession of our people is the worst kind of demon that we have ever seen in the whole world. They swallow everything and give us blood on our highways, blood in the battlefields, blood in the theaters, blood in the dialysis centers, and blood everywhere. We must come out and
Chairman, kindly just wrap up, please. Yeah, so we will have to negotiate another discussion for this.
And learn. We are saying this because we think that you need to get out of that code. If somebody does not tell you this, we will tell you. Thank you so much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, EduSec, for that powerful conclusion. Ambazonians, we have to liberate ourselves, just like the chairman, the EduSec said. Mr. Chairman, could you please, in your own 2 minutes at most, please, to conclude and let us wrap this up. It's been 3 hours.
We can be here till morning. Thank you so much, PS. Our boys are in the bushes. They are in the bush for 7 good years. They have been in the bush for 7 good years continuously. They have not gone out of the bush. So 3 hours, 2 hours is not something that we need to talk about. Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity, great Ambazonians. I just want to thank you for the sacrifices that you've made so far, to take us this far and to give us the opportunity to begin to craft the things that we want, to begin to show you the kind of Ambazonia that we intend to hand over to you. And so I will come back to this verse of the Word of God, because the Word of God it's a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. It shines your path, it shines your way. And like Mabia rightly said, we have a moral code. We have developed a moral code for our students. It's part of our curriculum. So moral code. We sent it to an organization in the United States, and it was a wow. It was like a wow. We've tabled it to organizations, to other educational organizations. It's a wow. And so I say, in all your gettings, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy gettings, get understanding. Get understanding of the things that surround you. Get understanding of your life. Get understanding of your circumstances. There's a lot that we still have to unpack. There's a lot that we've said, but a lot still is unsaid.
Unsaid.
We are just laying the groundwork. It's just a foundation. There is a lot that needs to be done in the education. We are just scratching, just to say, let's stay afloat, let's stay on. There's a lot, and like Edusek said and Mabia said, come on board. Like I said in the beginning of our discussion, Amazonian Education Board is not an AGOVC property. Come on board, irrespective of your political leaning, your political belonging. Come on board. We are crafting something for the nation of Amazonia. It is not a political tool. It's not a political tool in the hands of AGOVC. No, it is a livelihood for the Amazonian people. Come on board, dear Amazonians. Bring your contribution. You are a skilled teacher. You are a professor. You are teaching. You are a pedagogue. Whatever you are in the educational arena, please, we need your skills. Come on board. Come on board and contribute whatever you want to contribute. We are saying that certification is not the best way of evaluation. Practical doing should be the best way. Practical doing should be the best way of evaluating skills, vocation.
Skills.
And so we are saying that a lot of our skills and natural endowed abilities have been killed by the former system.
That's right.
There's a man in Amazonia. He was an armory expert, born. He didn't learn it from anywhere. What La République Cameroon did was to arrest him and kill that initiative. Instead of harnessing that spirit, that skill, that there's some talents that are naturally given. I was watching yesterday, one young man in Zimbabwe and here in South Africa. He had that passion for helicopters. Guess what he did? He has created an helicopter just from that passion. He didn't go to any school. And there are such indigenous skills that are inborn in people. Passion does drive them to get to go to a particular domain, to do certain things, but it is killed. And so that skill in that man was killed. The armory skill. We used to have we make our own guns. The den guns that they have come and they ban the use of den guns. It's our creation. That's our creation. That's to answer to the question where somebody was asking how we can adapt our indigenous system to match the world, the standards of the world. We create guns. We all our cutlasses, our spears. We create stuff, and so I just encourage our people to come join hands so we can build this thing. We can build it to standard. We are planning to have a state of the art kind of infrastructure, because the world these days is going away from communities gathering. People are doing that stuff online, but that state of the art school is what we want to use to build cohesion, to build participatory in community building. Children will go there to learn how to work together. And so we are planning to start building in areas that we have control over. It could be Bui, it could be Momo. We're starting, we have a project to build a state-of-the-art educational infrastructure from kindergarten right up to university level. And so the other thing that we didn't touch was that we have centers already on the ground. If you want to study, go to that center, download your material, where you sit down there, you don't have a computer, you don't have a cell phone that you can access education. Go to that center, access that center. There is internet there. There's a computer there. You can sit down there, download your material, go to a place, print it out, go study, and you can study even within this crisis. And so we are calling on all Amazonians to come on board. We have developed a teacher's code. We have developed a dressing code for the teachers. Teachers will not just dress anyhow. There's a dressing code for the teachers. There's a code for a moral code for the teachers. And so there is a lot that we have come up with. We are calling on Ambazonians, come on board and let's perfect it and give Ambazonia a place that people will run to, where we have run to, like we have run to America, Germany, and so on. Let's give other people, because crisis will not end with Ambazonia. Some crisis will erupt somewhere, and so people would like to come to Ambazonia. Let's give Ambazonians make Ambazonia that bed for people to come and lie on. I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Find time again, bring us on board so that we can continue to unpack and give them gist on what we are busy with, what we are doing, and how far we've gone, to update them on what we're doing. Thank you so much, Ambazonians. Thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. And I'm very happy with how you concluded this. I'm going to take you all out of the studio and I will wrap this up. But before you go, I just want to truly say thank you for the great work that you're doing for Ambazonia in terms of education, how you're preparing our minds, how you're preparing the future for our children. And we hope that Ambazonia will truly benefit from this information and go to the respective site that you've provided to learn more, come on board and provide and give their own quarters to what we are building. If they want to truly sit and criticize, they should be able, if you are able to criticize, you should be able to contribute as well. So if you want to criticize something, be able to provide an alternative to your criticism. So the doors are open, Ambazonians should come in and support. So I'll take you guys out and I will conclude this and we'll bring you back on board again, like you said, to further educate Ambazonians on this. Thank you all. Mabia, thank you. Edusek, thank you. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Fellow Amberlanders, thank you very much for your time for this wonderful segment that has come to a close. So as you can see, we've concluded this discussion. It's a critical, knowledge is very critical to distinguish advantages of the Ambazonian system. So which draws inspiration from one of the most progressive educational model around the world. The Ambazonian education system draws its inspiration from so many educational and progressive educational models around the world. So in nations like Finland, Singapore, and Japan, education is tailored to build students into self-sufficiency, critical thinkers who can adapt to an environment or an evolving world. This system prioritizes creativity, problem-solving, entrepreneurship, ensuring that graduates are not just well-versed in theory, but also equipped with practical skills needed to strive independently. The Ambazonian education system is modeled after these principles, aiming to cultivate a generation that is self-reliant and self-sufficient. Unlike Cameroonian education system, which often focuses on rote learning, memorization, without fostering true understanding or practical application, the Ambazonian approach of education ensures that students are prepared to face real-world challenges. The system emphasizes the importance of knowledge as a tool for liberation, knowledge that empowers individuals to break free from the shackles of dependencies and injustice. In adapting the Ambazonian education system, we are also committing to an educational framework that not only impacts knowledge, but also builds character, instills confidence, and fosters innovation. This is an educational system that prepares students to be self-independent, resourceful, capable of contributing meaningfully to the communities and beyond. So by choosing this path, we are laying the foundation for a future where our children are not just surviving, but striving, free, independent, and empowered. So let us all embrace the opportunity to transform our educational landscape, ensuring that every student is equipped with the tools they need to succeed and lead in an increasing complex world. The Ambazonian education system is not just an alternative, it is the future of education for a free and prosperous society. So thank you very much for your time, for being with me, and we appreciate you all for everything that you've done. Ambazonia will continue to strive, and we will bring back the leaders of this particular department, Ambazonia Education Board, to talk more on this education system. So God bless you. Short live the Ambazonian struggle. Long live Ambazonia. God bless you all. Have a good evening.